Hello, my name is Alex,
And I'm Ryan.
and today we'll be showing you our final project in a demo. So first, let's talk about some of the functionality. The functionality that I brought to the project is the on-screen display that you see here through the canvas object, the player prefab, and the individual animations. Both of those were from tutorials I found on YouTube. I brought the camera switcher and follow with offset scripts from previous labs. And I programmed myself the input system, the input manager, the player movement and jumping through the movement controller, view controller, and jump controller, which are linked to the input manager, as you can see here with serialized fields. I also worked with the block switcher, the player looking with the mouse, and the player inventory actually that tracks the number of blocks placed versus the number of blocks destroyed or collected by the player. I've also utilized ray casting from the camera to get the player functionality of placing and destroying blocks to determine where to place a block or just which block to destroy. And I've also added a switching functionality between the inventory, as you'll see in the demo, which will change from the dirt block to the bedrock block to grass and so on by pressing E, which will change which block is placed. I've also set up a determining algorithm that determines which blocks are generated underground as you destroy blocks on the surface level. And so now Ryan will talk about his contributions to the project as I start the game up and go through a demo.
So for my part of the project, I started by using some Perlin noise to do terrain generation. One of the things was because this is a block style game, I I had to tie the noise to single offset, so it's not precisely how the Perlin noise imagined the terrain to be, but it is clamped down to the grid. And then I used chunking, so as Alex expands around the world will continue to expand with him, and he can go as far as he wants to. And with the chunking, uh, if you go out of range of the chunk, and you go back within range of the chunk, then the blocks and everything placed will be saved, everything dug will be saved. I made it so that all this happens as the player moves and does whatever they want to within the game. And then I created the place and dig methods that Alex calls with his ray casting. So as he calls the place block at position, it places the block there, or if he calls to dig at a specific block, then it digs there. And then I made it so that as the player digs down, more blocks appear below them. Alex coded the function to determine which blocks those were, and I coded the initial part where it figures out where to place those blocks. Because the world isn't fully generated, it has to know after placing and digging which blocks need created. So that's why I implemented that, and Alex um, did his part related to it. And then there was one glitch we ran into with the Perla noise because I'm clamping the block to a grid. If there's a 2 block high interval, having a single block would have left an empty gap below them. So then I made it so that anytime there's a 2 block high space, it places 2 blocks at that position.
As you can see what Ryan was talking about, as I reloaded the original chunk, you can see the original structure I built at the beginning of this demo. And also you can see there's a little bit of randomness determining which blocks are underneath. So the snow will only go so deep, as the white blocks are snow blocks and the gray blocks are stone. So the snow will go different depths on different blocks just based on randomness. And then after that bit of randomness, it'll just be stone on down. And as you can see also, the switching is noted in the bottom left of the screen with the pictures of the different blocks and the numbers changing color, yellow for you have the blocks, and red for you don't have any. And it'll highlight whichever block you're selected on and place those blocks. And if you try and place and you don't have it, nothing will happen. So I'll go ahead and get a water block real quick to show that. Just like that. And here are some of the different animations as well as the player that we have. So when he's walking, I have a walking animation from Mixamo.com as well as the prefab of the characters from Mixamo.com and different camera angles as well. And the ray casting actually happens from the camera, the active camera. So you'll delete blocks that the cursor is looking at, not what the player is looking at. And so while the animations were from Mixamo.com and the prefab for the character was also from Mixamo.com, I still had to wire up the eventing system for the animation to stop and start based on when the player was moving. I believe that is all for our demo today. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Adios.